Good morning, Facebook. Morgan Steele here. How are you all doing? I'm just going outside. I want to show you something. I want to show you what I'm about to do. So this morning I have had I've had a good morning. The kids were actually pretty awesome. But I checked my emails, which you shouldn't do. Oh, I hope you guys can see me with the light. I checked my emails, which you shouldn't really do first thing in the morning before you get your Zen on, because it does kind of disrupt the flow. For me, it does anyway. So what I'm doing right now is I'm outside. You can see I'm outside of my house. Can you guys see me? If you're on the live, can you say if you can see me with the sun? I can't. There we go. I'm outside. I'm walking on the grass. Why am I walking on the grass? When you get to a stage where you are feeling kind of out of your body, a little bit stressed, a little bit kind of forgetful, and you are kind of walking around your house in a bit of a daze, like, oh my gosh, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. Go outside and stand in the grass with your bare feet, because that is cool. It's how you ground back into your body. So it's just a little tip. So I'm doing it now because I've got quite a few things to do today, and I really want to be fully present in my body. I want to be grounded, I want to be in my own energy, and this is the way to do it. So I might actually, where can I do this? Maybe up here a little bit more. Today what I wanted to talk to you about is my favourite topic, obviously, at the moment, which is self-love. How not having enough self-love is really, really costing you in your life. So there's three areas that I consider that it's really, really costing you. The first area is your energy levels, your exhaustion. So if you don't have a self-love kind of rituals that you do, if you're not developing this real habit of self-love, then what happens, hey Carla, thanks for joining, what happens is you're going to be exhausted all the time. You're going to be, and the reason you're going to be exhausted all the time is because you're going to be doing things for everybody else but yourself, pretty much. So you're going to be the person who's putting your hand up for every, school job, or every job at work, or everything that you feel that might make you feel better, so that you can maybe, I don't want to say impress other people, but it's a matter of you don't have as much self-love for yourself, so you're externally trying to do everything, okay? That's what I used to do. That's why I know this. That's why I'm talking about this. So you're going to be exhausted all the time because you're going to be doing way too much stuff. You're not going to be putting yourself first, and you're going to be basically just doing everything and not having a self-love kind of ritual and routine and belief in place. The second thing that, just written down on my hand, the second thing that's really going to suffer is your relationships. So to really love another person, or to receive love from another person, whether that is through an intimate relationship or through, friends, if you don't have a high level of self-love, you can only attract really what you are vibrationally, which is quite a bold statement to make. But if you don't have that real deep love for yourself, you're not going to be in a position energetically to actually receive love from another person. Okay, I'm just going to walk down here as well. So it's when you're with, say we're talking about friendships, just like normal friendships, and you don't have a very high level of self-love within yourself, you're not going to have the boundaries, and boundaries are so important. So I used to be the kind of person who would say yes to everything. If I got invited to something, a party or a barbecue, or to do something with a friend, I would always say yes. Even if I didn't want to go, I would say yes, because it was almost like I valued them higher than I valued myself. So I didn't actually want to go to this certain thing, but because I didn't want to let them down, I didn't want to let that person down, I didn't want to hurt their feelings, or I didn't want to miss out on what I thought might be there. I didn't have enough self-love to really understand that isn't the way to do it. You need to have your own self-boundaries. If somebody invites you to something and you don't want to go, that is your choice, and that is, you have that choice to say, hey look, thank you so much for inviting me, but I've actually got so much on this week that it's really going to stretch me to the limit, and I'm not actually going to be able to, to go to that. And if they respect you as a person, which they should if they're in your life, then they're going to understand that, because we do have busy lives, yeah? So that's where you're going to suffer. So you're going to be exhausted from doing everything, you know, trying to get your happiness and your self-love from external things. Then within your relationships, you're not going to have the boundaries that you really need to start cultivating. So that, hey Missy, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Are you still in New Zealand, or are you in Brian? Hi Brian. Missy, are you still in New Zealand, or are you back in Australia? I think you're in Australia. So let's recap. So the first thing is exhaustion. Exhaustion because you're doing everything for everyone else, trying to people please, trying to put everyone else before yourself. Second thing is your relationships. You can't attract into your relationships what you don't have within yourself. If you don't have that self-love within yourself, you're not going to be able to get it from your intimate relationships, and you're not going to be able to get it from your friends. And on top of that, hey Brian, on top of that, your boundaries aren't going to be there. You're going to be saying yes to every single thing. You're going to be dropping important things in your life to reply to that text message, or to ring that person back because they've asked you, or to go and help somebody that has never really helped you before, and you're only doing it out of a sense of not a very, I don't know how to explain it, but you're only doing it because you feel you have to, not because you want to, or because you're really serving somebody from a deep place of love. Okay. And what's the third thing I've written down? Your mind. So your mind is going to be in overdrive if you do not have a really good level of self-love. And the reason your mind is going to be in overdrive is because you will be justifying yourself to everybody. So when you have an opinion about something for your own life, say you've decided to quit your job and start a business, like Brian, like he was friggin' awesome. We went over to a mastermind in Puerto Rico, had such a good time. And you know, what was it, like a month later, he makes a status update that he's quit his job and he's going to do this, you know, full time, and that's friggin' awesome. But he doesn't need to justify that to anybody, and I know he doesn't. That's just an example. If you tell somebody something, this is what I'm doing for my job now, or my business, or I've decided to move house, or whatever, that's all you need to say. You don't need to justify why you're doing it to people. If people look at you funny, it's their own shit. It's nothing to do with you. And I used to justify myself all the time, and that came from a huge lack of self-love. You know, like I'd say something and then they kind of wouldn't answer, or they'd look at me funny, and then I'd try and justify, oh, you know, this is why I'm doing it, blah blah blah. You don't have to do that, guys. You do not have to justify to anybody anything that you decide. It is your life, and it's when you reach a place of being enough and being, you know, self-love and honouring, and really just getting to that place where you know that it's your choice and that you've got free will and everything is within your control. Not everything, but you know, there is fate at play, but you get to a place where justification doesn't even come into it. You say you speak your truth. You're not blocked in your throat chakra. You speak your truth, and you know that it's going to be all good. It's going to be all good. So that's pretty much all I have to say, guys. Self-love is hugely important. Today I've actually got I wanted to tell you a story actually, as an example for self-love that I've actually done this morning. So today I've got, so Brian says you control how you overcome an obstacle. Yes, that's exactly right. So karmic influences will come into your life, and that's what Brian describes as an obstacle. Karmic influences, overcome, they come into your life and you can't control them. However, you can control how you overcome that. Exactly. And do you take the lesson from it, or do you completely shut down and go into victim mode and think that it's everyone else's fault but yours? You know, there's two different ways to deal with it, and I have learned, and how I handle my life now is whatever comes into your life, it's meant to be. And hey, Love Day, thanks for joining. Whatever is coming into your life, it's meant to be, and if you can take it with that growth and that lesson as to what how it's meant to be, then it's going to be serving you at your greatest level, as opposed to going into victim mode. Okay, so the story I was going to tell. So this morning from 10 till 2 today, I've got a theta healing workshop with another practitioner. She's asked me to come along to her practitioner thing that she's doing to help her out. So I'm doing that. But prior to that, I was going to go into the law office because I work part-time as a lawyer, and I was going to finish off some documents for a client that are due on Monday because I didn't get them done yesterday. So I had this all planned out. This morning, I got to the stage where I was like, you know what, that's going to be such a rush. I'm going to be super stressed. I'm going to turn up to this workshop, not in good energy, just completely because of the rush, because of, you know, the kids first, then I've got to go into the office for an hour, then the theta healing workshop. So what I decided, which I believe comes from a huge you know, belief of having the self-love and the honouring of yourself, is I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to go into that office. I've got enough trust that something, you know, the universe will plan it so that I can actually still get that stuff done for Monday, whether I do it before they come in on Monday or possibly sometime over the weekend. I've made the decision not to go in, and that's the kind of stuff that keeps you in a state where you're not exhausted. You're not, you're honouring yourself over sometimes other commitments you have, and you can actually put your hand up and say, hey look, I know I've got this commitment to you and I am going to honour it. However, you know, the self, you know, I want to say the self-love I have for myself, but the way that I'm feeling about myself is that I need to have my own boundaries, and I need to protect my energy, and I need to feel good for this workshop I'm doing at 10, so therefore that's not going to suit me today. So I'm actually going to shuffle some things around and make sure that I'm actually going to bring the best to something that I actually, you know, want to do. Okay, hi Kristen, thanks for joining. So yes, I'm going to leave it there today, guys, because I actually do have to head off to this workshop, but I did just want to recap quickly what I'm talking about. If you're just tuning in, if you're just joining, you know, this is all about self-love and what it's actually costing you not to have self-love. So for me, I always thought that I had quite a good level of self-love until I reached this next level where you actually realize, hey, all of the actions and the belief systems and the things that I'm thinking about and doing and, you know, becoming is actually, it's not really in self-love, it's not in alignment, it's not, I'm not truly honouring myself. So the first thing I talked about quickly, just to recap, was exhaustion. If you are feeling exhausted all the time, it's highly likely that you need to work on your self-love. And this is not a criticism, this is just a realization. If you're exhausted, you're probably doing 1,000 things for 1,000 different people and not for yourself. So you're valuing other people's time and energy and other people's things over your own. Okay? And that isn't right. You need to, if you don't fill your own cup up first, you're not going to be able to serve anybody else. And it's not about being selfish. You know, people might read that, you know, watch this and say, well, you're just selfish, you know, you should be putting other people first. Well, no, it's not about being selfish. If you don't fill your own cup up first, you're not helping them from a good place anyway. You're not actually going to be able to help them from, you know, love and from really serving them, because you're so depleted yourself that it's like two depleted people helping each other. You don't get a good result. So that's the first thing. Second thing is your relationships. Within your relationships, you need to have boundaries, okay? And I talked about, for me, it was like, I used to say yes to everything. You know, whatever I got invited to, I said yes to it. Even if I didn't want to go, I basically pretended I did, and I just went along and I put on a happy face. That is not the way to honour yourself and love yourself, because if you really did honour and love yourself, you have your boundaries, and you can say to that person, you know, with complete and utter love and safety, hey look, thank you for inviting me to this, but I'm so busy this week that for me to actually go to that is really going to push me to the limit. I'm going to be exhausted, I'm not going to have time for the things I need to do, so I'm not going to be able to come. And that is a huge form of self-love and self-honouring. And the last thing is your mind, and that's about justification. You do not need to justify yourself to anybody. If you what have we got there, Brian? Let me just read that. It's quite long. Good example is the oxygen mask on the plane. You need to put your mask on before you can help the person next to you. Exactly. That is so true, so true. And I've always been the kind of person that just thought I could help people, even from a broken place. Well, you can help to a certain extent, but the way that I believe to make the world a better place and for us to create more peace and love on this earth is for everybody to fill up their own cup and then to help other people. Come to something with your cup full, and whether you need to do things like take salt baths every night, get massages, eat healthy food, don't poison your body with shit, don't put alcohol and cigarettes and drugs and, you know, bad food into your body that's going to weigh you down and make you feel toxic, because from that place you're not able to serve anybody. So I forgot where I was at, but I think I'm just about going to be finished this. I think the last thing I was talking about was your mindset. So justification. Don't justify yourself to anybody. You can explain with love what you're doing, and if they don't agree with you, that's cool. But you don't need to sit there and justify. That's a form of not feeling like you're enough, not having enough self-love, not being in your own power and needing to prove yourself to somebody else. And I've done that for my whole life, and I'm not doing it anymore. And I don't do it anymore. And people will either take you as you are or they'll leave you. And that's exactly the way it should be. So thanks guys for watching. I appreciate your comments and you tuning in. It's really awesome to see you guys today. And you know, if anybody's out there and you can relate to what I am saying, I mainly work with women. I can work with men, but I've mainly only worked with women. Worked with a couple of men actually. And you feel like you don't have, you know, you're not up to that level that you'd really like, that lush self-love where you're just having, you know, self-worth, self-love, self-honouring, and really stepping into your power, then I'm offering a 6-week one-on-one program. It's called the Love Queen Intensive with myself. There's also going to be another healer involved and a naturopath involved. And there's lots of bonuses that I'm including, and it's a 6-week package where you work with me one-on-one to really overcome all of this stuff. And we use theta healing. I'm an advanced theta healing practitioner, and we do coaching as well, so spiritual life coaching and theta healing, the modality. So if that sounds like you, if you're somebody out there who is maybe in the situation that I've just been talking about, like myself a couple of years ago, then send me a private message. I don't have a booking link up at the moment. I'm getting that made, so that will be soon. But at the moment, just send me a private message. And you know, I don't work with everybody, only because what I do is very spiritual and, you know, energy work, and it's, you have to be open, and it has to be in your how do I say it? You have to be already into this stuff. I'm not going to take somebody who's really against spirituality, not into spirituality, and would rather go to maybe a counsellor or maybe just a normal life coach. I'm into, you know, I work with spirituality and with the divine, and you know, with other healers that are the same. So that's the kind of work I do. So if you're that kind of person that's open to that stuff, then that's the kind of client that I'm taking on. Okay, so it's a 6-week package, and I can take 2 people a month because, as you know, I'm working as a lawyer as well. So spots are limited, so send me a private message if that sounds like you. I will need to speak to you on the phone for 15-20 minutes, find out your situation and see if I can actually help you. Obviously I'm not going to take you on if I can't help you. That's just not going to work. So you know, thanks for tuning in guys, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.